Hello, beautiful people. Andrea Caprio here. I am back. So today I share with you my roadmap to overcome emotional eating. I'm seeing a lot of clients coming to me. They often have issues with emotional eating, food addictions, cravings, and very often they get actually confused in what to do. It's such a complex theme, and often people have tried like everything. And I really would like to share with you today what actually is really important to do and how you can overcome emotional eating and even look into getting help for eating disorders as well. Now, first of all, the most important part is, of course, to recognize what is happening, recognize and knowing what you're dealing with is the most important part. And that is not always that easy because it's so confusing. We've been perhaps telling ourselves lies for a very long time. And often we might need help for that. So if you suspect that you have an issue with emotional eating or perhaps some form of eating disorders, then really I would recommend you to see a professional who can help you with this. It's a little bit tricky to find the right person, and sometimes it is a good idea to see several people. But the good thing is to speak first to your healthcare provider, to your doctor or so, and they can usually recommend somebody to work with going forward. So I would definitely always recommend going into finding professional help. You might as well want to see a psychologist to get help or get psychotherapy around those eating disorders and issues you're having around emotional eating, because very often there are, of course, underlying other issues combined with it, and you want definitely to get professionals' help with that. Now, you have also the opportunity to see perhaps with a nutritionist or a nutrition coach to get help as well, additionally with the eating part, and especially finding out perhaps there might be some deficiencies, nutrient deficiencies, or your system might also have been suffering through years of not eating the right food and abusing of your system there. So definitely something that you want to see together. Now, I would also recommend to see somebody who puts it all together. I see very often when people come to me, they have seen a doctor, they have seen a nutritionist, they have seen a psychologist, but each of them, they have a different approach. One sees it from a very medical view, one more from the mental and mindset view, and the nutritionist would be more the nutrition, of course. And I find working with clients, I see so often it's missing actually somebody in the middle of all that who really can put together the different parts, the science of nutrition together with the health part, understanding what are the underlying causes, what could also eating not the right foods have done to your body, and what systems might be affected, and then of course from the psychological side and the mindset side also somebody. And that's something where I'm really passionate about, is that I've learned over the years working with people who have emotional eating issues, really to see the importance how it is to put together all these parts. And I'm helping my clients really putting it all together and understanding how one side influenced the other side. And I'm going to get to that right now and give you a little bit more and give you also the roadmap forward. So I also want to say my name is Andrea Caprio. I'm the owner and founder of Wellness Methods. I am passionate about helping people who have eating issues, cravings, emotional eating. I work especially together with entrepreneurs and very busy people, because I found that a lot of these people, they really need some additional help with finding ways of implementing it in a busy lifestyle. And because of my own experience, I've always been super stressed and busy and not really having time to implement I like cooking, but let's face it, we don't have the time. So I really look always for the hacks on how to make things easy and how to become more productive and how to implement that all in my daily life. So that's what I'm passionate about, helping people as well. And when I'm helping my clients, I go very deep into any emotional issues they might be having, some trauma, and these are very often sitting at the base of emotional eating disorders, of food addiction or so. So putting that all together, I find very important is looking at one side, the emotional side, and then on the other side, the food side, because also very often, and that's one point not to forget, is there is a biochemical imbalance in the body. Let's put it like this: years of eating unhealthy food have of course influenced our body in a negative way. Very often it has influenced our digestive system, it has influenced our hormonal system, the endocrine system, and many others as a result. And when your body cannot deal anymore in a efficient way actually with what you put in it, so the food and everything, when for example your liver has been over years overtaxed by toxins and perhaps too much food or so, then the systems cannot work properly, and that's very often when we have imbalances, and of course out of that very often illnesses. That's when very often we can put on too much weight, or we get some form of chronic illness, like for example diabetes or any others as well. So it's really important to look into all these and see what are actually the root causes of those, and what has the years of eating unhealthy actually done to our body. And that's somewhere where I'm working with my clients on, is finding out what are the root causes on one side for the emotional eating, and on the other side what are the imbalances. And looking at all this from a holistic point of view is really, really important. And that's one point what I would recommend you if you're dealing with emotional eating or with some food addiction. Then definitely look at the root cause. Find a professional who is able to look from a holistic point of view, not just the doctor, not just from a psychological point of view, but all together. And of course continue working with each of them and get a team together who is able to help you at several levels. And that is definitely the most important, and that is what I see with my clients, which actually really brings the transformation and helps them to see results. Once we start getting to that, the next step would be to address, of course, like nutrient deficiencies. Very often we end up having vitamin or mineral deficiency, perhaps after years of not eating so healthy. The systems can just not digest anymore so well. Hello, Laura Brunette. How are you? So it's really very difficult for our body to slowly come back into balance. So take your time and really see it more as a long-term approach to repair your systems, address nutrition deficiencies and system imbalances as well. And then the next step will be as well that you would want to look into what might cause your cravings. Now, often that might be an imbalance in your digestive system. If your digestive system doesn't work properly, then we have more cravings. And when you have more cravings, then you eat unhealthier. So it's kind of a vicious circle. I'm sure you've noticed that. So it is eventually really important to interrupt that and find out how to overcome those cravings from a biochemical side. It is not to do with willpower. I see so often people who say, yeah, but I don't have motivation, I don't have willpower. That's not necessarily needed. What is needed is really helping on a biochemical way and balancing the digestive system so the cravings can be less. And that would be looking, for example, at your gut health. The gut health, as you might know, serotonin is actually produced 70% in your gut, and that is a very, very big important factor for cravings, because that affects eventually our neurotransmitters and our hormones. So by just working on repairing our gut, we can already help with cravings. So this is just one thing, to look at. And then the next thing would definitely be also to look at your spiritual health. Now, spiritual health is very important in terms of having a purpose in life, or having a purpose at the moment where you actually experience cravings, that is the trick here. And the trick is there really to find out what is your purpose, what are your cravings, what are you craving, what are you really hungry for. And I really see that very often people use food to replace some emotional or some spiritual component that is missing in their life. And once they've fulfilled that, the cravings, the emotional eating, the food addiction will eventually be able to, to be repaired. And that's really, really important, to look at your spiritual health. And that's something I'm doing with my clients. I'm really passionate about, because again, transformation is done when you're looking at all those different areas and then repairing and transforming your health. And the other part is also about habits. Now, I always hear, like I mentioned earlier, willpower is super, super difficult to keep up. And I always say it like you have a bag of willpower, and you take out a little bit willpower one after the other, and eventually your bag is empty. So you want really to remove that whole willpower component, because we have only that much willpower. Eventually, this willpower is gone, and then that's when we dip into the cookie jar or empty, the tub of ice cream or whatever it is actually. So there it comes in that we're really looking into habit forming, or forming healthy habits that you can eventually use not without thinking anymore. Like, for example, brushing your teeth. You don't think about brushing your teeth every morning, every evening. You just do it. It's rarely that you forget it. I hope so, at least. But most people really brush their teeth in the morning, in the evening, and no matter what. And for example, there a really easy tip is, if you want to start healthier habits, is just combine the new healthy habit with an old habit. Now, you could do something if you want to start, for example, let's say to meditate or so, then you could just start to meditate right after you brush your teeth, because you will remember that brushing off the teeth is the cue for meditation. And if you then add a reward to it, even better. And of course, that should be a healthy reward. So you could say, okay, when I got to do this, then I could watch TV or whatever it is, something really that helps you to do that. So I invite you to try out some new approach to it, but especially if you have some emotional eating issues, please do seek professional help. If you want any help, please feel free to reach out. And also, if you have any questions, just type it in the comments. I'm very happy to answer you. Even if you're just watching the replay, you can always watch it from the beginning and just look after it. And also, if you want help, so just, you can private message me or just in the comments. Very happy to help you here as well. And I have also a little gift for you today. I give you today my emotional stress eating formula, which is really a handy formula of overcoming emotional stress eating. The link is in the description of that video, so you can just download it. It's free, and that might be the first step for you to overcome emotional eating. Now, one important part, please share this video with your friends. It might be on your timeline, or it might be perhaps in a private message. There might be that friend who is struggling with emotional eating or with food addiction, and it might save their lives. So please do share this with other people around you. It might help them perhaps just to take that one step and see a professional help, or join a support group, or come and see me, or whatever it is. But there's so many people out there, and I hope they get some help. Thanks so much for watching, and please do leave me your comments, and I look forward to seeing you next week with some more. It's Andrea Caprio, and have a lovely day or evening wherever you are.